and there's been so much speculation around her absence, but the whole thing was just kind of bizarre, and a lot of Fever fans were speculating that we're not going to see her back. And just today, it was announced that she has no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and her preferred destinations are either Atlanta or the Phoenix Mercury. It's also been reported that the main reason that she wanted to leave is because things felt off from the beginning, and she thought that she would be a starter. But if you guys remember, DB was starting in the beginning of the season, and she honestly just wasn't playing her best, so Lexi Hall moved into that starting position.
Did Dewanna Bonner really leave the Indiana Fever for personal reasons, or was that just a polite way of saying she couldn't handle coming off the bench? Let's be real, this wasn't some graceful veteran bowing out. This was a messy breakup disguised as a professional decision. Bonner, a 6-time All-Star and once respected locker room voice, vanished mid-season with barely a whisper. No post, no update, just gone. And fans weren't buying the personal excuse for a second. The Fever were finally relevant. Every game a spectacle thanks to Caitlin Clark. And instead of stepping up, Bonner dipped. The whispers started early. Was she injured? Was it family? Nah, turns out the only thing hurting was her ego.
Well, I don't want to come off the bench is not a personal issue. Well, I don't like my role.
The same ego that thought she'd waltz into a starting role, coast through the season, and get her flowers. But when the reality check hit, when Coach White made a move that prioritized performance over resume, Bonner packed her bags and ghosted the team. This wasn't about minutes, it was about pride. When Dewanna Bonner signed with the Fever in February, she thought she was clocking in for the easiest job of her career. Slide into a starting role, sprinkle in a few highlight plays, collect a nice check, and maybe sip Gatorade courtside while the team rode Caitlin Clark's hype train. But reality hit like a full court press. This wasn't the sleepy franchise she imagined. It was a team reborn, broadcasted to millions, sold out arenas, and fans dissecting every second of gameplay. Bonner didn't walk into a retirement home. She walked into a storm. And her game, it wasn't built for this kind of pace anymore.
Dewanna Bonner, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split ya. What's it? See ya, wouldn't wanna be ya.
She looked slower. Her shot, off. Her energy, flat. While the world was tuning in to see the rise of a new era, Bonner couldn't find her place in it. She started the first few games and immediately struggled, averaging just 2.6 points while clanking shots off the rim like she was auditioning for a bricklaying job. And instead of adjusting, she resisted. She didn't want to fight for minutes. She wanted them handed over on name value alone. Bonner's numbers weren't just down, they were straight up embarrassing. 2 of 12 from the field across 3 starts? That's not a slump, that's a cry for help. But instead of grinding in silence and earning her way back into the rotation, Bonner caught a case of starters envy. The second she got benched in favor of Lexi Hull, the energy shifted. Hull, the soft-spoken sniper who puts in work every game, wasn't just filling space, she was lighting it up. Hustling, rebounding, playing real defense, and most importantly, hitting threes like clockwork. Bonner wasn't just replaced, she was outplayed, and she didn't take it well.
Dewanna Bonner signs a free agent contract with the Indiana Fever, and after a handful of games, wants a Fever exit, apparently. And that is a strange situation, right? Because she was embraced. She had her achievement at the beginning of the season, moving up the scoring ranks. They were referring to her as Mama Bear in training camp. And now all of a sudden that has fallen apart. She was out of the starting lineup, hadn't really produced that much, particularly on the offensive end. And this, looks poor on the franchise when it comes to the free agent moves in retrospect, the team that they put together in the offseason. I don't think it reflects well on Dewanna Bonner, whose absence was for quote unquote personal reasons, but now it seems like she was just upset with the team and the situation overall, and it adds more drama to what has been a drama-filled season for Caitlin Clark in the Indiana.
While Lexi was proving her value every minute on the court, Bonner was sulking behind the scenes. Rumors swirled that she wasn't happy about losing her spot to the little blonde girl from next door, as some put it. But this wasn't about hair color or optics. It was about who showed up to compete. Hull earned it. Bonner expected it. And in the W, expectations don't count for buckets. Performance does. Then came the disappearing act. One day Bonner's benched. The next, she's just gone. Missed 5 straight games, no official injury, no press conference, no timeline, just a vague personal reasons tag slapped on like duct tape over a broken situation. But fans weren't fooled. Something felt off. Spidey senses started tingling all across Indiana. This wasn't about family or health, it was about frustration. Bonner didn't vanish because life got in the way. She vanished because reality did. The harsh truth? She wasn't producing, she wasn't starting, and she couldn't stomach being on a team where the spotlight didn't follow her name.
Dewanna Bonner knew damn well she didn't want to come to Indiana. She knew she didn't want to be there. She knew she didn't want to be there. I think the fix was in. The Phoenix Mercury didn't have the bread to pay her. She said, I'm going to get the bag elsewhere, and then I'm going to force my way out to where within the first half of the season before All-Star, Alyssa Thomas, I'm going to be on your team. I think the fix has been in. I think the Phoenix Mercury knew this was going to happen. I think they knew this was going to happen. I think she played bad on purpose. She plummeted her stock to the point where it's not like we could trade her. It's official. It is official, y'all.
While the rest of the roster was grinding under a national microscope, Bonner was ducking the heat, sulking in the shadows while the Fever tried to hold things together. And if it wasn't already obvious, the silence spoke volumes. When a veteran disappears with no explanation in the middle of a season and no one from the locker room rushes to defend her, yeah, that's not personal, that's political. Eventually, the truth came out. Bonner wanted out. She officially requested a trade, claiming the fit didn't work. Translation: I didn't get what I wanted. Indiana tried to move her, but guess what? Nobody bit. You'd think a 6-time All-Star would have teams lining up, but her value had tanked like her field goal percentage. The rumored destinations: Phoenix, her old stomping grounds, and Atlanta, home to a few Clark critics. Interesting, right? Instead of embracing a role on a team finally competing for relevance, Bonner was trying to slither back into comfort zones with low expectations and even lower pressure. If this was truly about basketball, you'd think she'd want to stay and help build something special. But it wasn't about that. It was about ego, control, and escaping the glare of Caitlin Clark's spotlight. The same attention that brought record crowds and new fans to the WNBA was apparently too much for a player who'd spent most of her career operating in relative obscurity. Bonner didn't want the smoke, she wanted silence. While Bonner dipped out the back door, Ari McDonald came sprinting through the front with sneakers laced and zero complaints. This was a player who didn't arrive with headlines. She came in on a hardship contract. No promises, no guarantees, just hunger. In 3 games, McDonald put up 11 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals a night. No excuses, no ego, just straight hustle. She was flying around the court, locking in on defense, diving for loose balls like every possession was her last. Fans loved her, teammates respected her. The Fever? They didn't hesitate. They signed her back the moment Bonner hit the exit. McDonald showed what leadership actually looks like, not being the loudest in the room, but being the one who shows up when it matters. While Bonner ghosted the squad and dropped vague statements, Ari dropped buckets and energy. She didn't care about starting spots, she cared about earning them. One embraced the moment, the other ran from it. If Bonner was the storm cloud, McDonald was the sunshine right behind it. Bonner's exit wasn't just a personal meltdown, it was symbolic. A classic clash between the old guard and the new wave. For years, the WNBA had operated in a kind of quiet bubble. Low attendance, low pressure, and even lower stakes. Veteran players had their routines, their roles, their comfort zones. Then here comes Caitlin Clark, a 22-year-old phenom dragging the league into prime time, selling out arenas and breaking viewership records like it's nothing. And that shook things up. Players like Bonner weren't just being asked to mentor, they were being asked to compete again, publicly, fiercely, and under more eyes than ever before. And some of them hated it. Instead of helping build the momentum, they saw it as a threat, a challenge to their seniority. But the truth? This new era doesn't care how long you've been here, it cares how hard you play. Bonner's attitude wasn't just outdated, it was exposed. The W has changed, and players like Ari McDonald are exactly what it needs. Bonner, she became a cautionary tale of what happens when ego can't evolve. At the end of the day, the Fever didn't just lose a veteran, they cut loose a weight that was holding them back. Bonner's departure wasn't a blow, it was a blessing. They replaced drama with dedication, attitude with effort, ego with energy. Ari McDonald isn't just a player, she's a message to the rest of the league. If you can't handle the pressure, someone else will. If you're not willing to fight for your role, there's a hungry player waiting for her shot. And if your feelings matter more than your performance, there's the door. Bonner had every chance to be part of something legendary, and she chose comfort over competition. But the Fever, they're not looking back. They're building a culture around players who want it, not those who expect it. So here's your choice. Just like the one Bonner had, fight for your spot or fade into the background. And speaking of showing up, you made it to the end. So now it's your turn. Drop a comment, smash that like button like Ari McDonald chasing a loose ball, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter in this wild WNBA season. Trust me, it's only getting crazier from here.